Hello there everybody, below 10,000 here, bringing you another episode of Mammal 2, and after defeating Yggdrasil, Woodman has something he wants to say. Yggdrasil, the World Tree. As a robot with woodland heritage, I really appreciate this level, even if the judges didn't. Moving on, we have stage 71st, Quazcake Rush City, score 15.8, 21, 9, 13, 21, 15, and it has 2 energy elements. Let's do this. This is one of the few levels I remember fondly from my original playthrough like 3-4 months ago. For the simple fact that it isn't actually that bad of a well, it's not, it's pretty basic, but it's like one of the least offensive levels in the game. Like, it's easy. That's the nice way of putting it. The lack of any actual rain or star twinkling is slightly saddening. Alright, if we head down here, we head into this corridor, almost get killed by that guy, but it's okay. You'd be surprised, but we're actually almost at the end of the stage. No. Wasn't going to deal with that fan fiend. I'm also going to activate my rush jet, because I really hate this jump here. And then I'm going to turn on my dual satellite to kill the blader. And then, well, where are we? We're at the end of the stage. This is literally, this is the end of the stage. As I said, it's one of the least offensive stages. Like, there we go, that's the end. Boom. Except we're not going to grab that energy element first. We're actually going to go down and do this section, which is a bike racer section, because I want to get the energy element from here. Because this bit is more difficult, you know? Now, that being said, the main problem here comes from the fact that these white spikes do kill you if they touch you. But if you get here, you get an E-tank, you get lives, you get bolts, and you get an energy element. Pretty simple, right? Now we just gotta go back, do that bit again, and go grab that other energy element we left there, and that's Rush City. So, as you can see, it's like one of the least offensive stages in the lower tiers. It's like, after Yggdrasil, having this stage is like the palate cleanser. This is so we can relax before we inevitably get destroyed by another really difficult, crazy stage. I'd also say that if you wanted to perfect run any stage in the second stage, this is the stage that you would want to perfect run. Aside from a few cheeky enemy placements, it's one of the easiest levels to kind of go no damage on, which, for certain achievements in this game that get unlocked later on, that's pretty useful. Oh, I forgot about you. Did he just scroll off the screen? He did. I'm so proud. Oh no. There we go. Gotcha. I'm okay with taking a little bit of damage from that killer bullet. Although normally I'd try and shoot it. It's just that one jump before. Don't really want to risk it, you know? There we go. And let's grab that energy. And also, let's read these signs. I didn't read them. Thanks for finishing the level. There's an optional ride bike race that leads to more goodies. Didn't really need to be there, but what they should have done, if you're having problems, remember touching the sides won't kill you. Some parts need speed. Credits, Ultimecia for the Duke Nukem tile set, Earthworm Jim music by Shiny and Interplay. In my opinion, this level shouldn't have ended here, and it should have ended at the end of the bike segment, and they should have just removed this energy element here. That would have made more sense. The Rush City, maybe you could have had more bike segments. It would have been much more fun. That would have been a really cool concept if you just used more bikes. Anyway, let's see what the judges had to say on Rush City. Snow at Pyro, 21 out of 50. The level just feels very empty. Like, there's some ideas here, but there's just not much going on in general. The only real difficult part is the part with bladers, and that's really only because bladers are hell to deal with. The wave bite section is sometimes unfair because Rider Joes can surprise you out of nowhere and knock you into pits. Other than that, there's not much happening. I guess there's a tiny bit of difficulty curve, but the levels seem so sparse that I feel like I'm just grasping at straws. I wish there was just more in general here. I agree. But as for the comment that, you know, the Joes can come out and attack you, I feel like that was a problem with most Mega Man games when it came to, like, jet ski sections or rider sections. There were always enemies that would surprise you. That's not something that I think is as bad to critique, because, I mean, that's something that the real games had used at points. Droopy Hornet, 9 out of 50. This level didn't feel like much effort was put into it. I basically flew over an empty section with Rush Jet. You're actually meant to jump down it, but it looks like a pit, so I flew over it. It was mostly flat with some Crystal Joes, fell down 2 screens, fought some enemies, and that was it. In the optional wave bike section, there's no indication whatsoever that those grey blocks actually kill you. Angel, 13 out of 50. This level was kind of over before it started, and sadly it didn't really have any clear direction. The challenges presented are janky and seem unfinished, and the optional bonus section that ends in a not-so-optional exit is something that could have been easily made the main gimmick of the level. This level needed both more focus and more testing to be substantial in any way, unfortunately. In my opinion, if you want to make something optional, put a Noble Nickel at the end of it, not an energy element. Guriri, 21 out of 50. Could have been better. The level design is pretty bad, with all the enemies being extremely unpredictable, one jump being overly precise, the one that I used the Rush Jet on, and the wave bike section being highly unfair with ridiculous enemy placement. Also, the visuals are pretty bad. Other than that, there's just nothing interesting to say here. It's a pretty bland level. Ace Spark, 15 out of 50. It comes to something when the bare minimum is applied to enemy layouts. This is done here. For such a generic level, that might just be the worst tile set selection you could have gone for. I'm not sure, even from the game this is taken from, that this looked... Wait, I'm sure not even the game this is taken from looked this boring. Duke Nukem, right? Nothing really happens in this stage. There is a wave bike section at the end, which was alright and a decent enough challenge, just enough to wake the player up. Even this is bungled a bit. Why do the spikes here look like generic blocks? This is just confusing. There is also the most laughably poor attempt at a boss fight I have ever seen here. Worst enemy type to select for your end game, considering there were actual bosses in the dev kit, and even more better mid-bosses. I really think you should have just made the wave bike segment and the actual end game, and not tried to make it optional, because now players will have to go through your stage twice just to pick up both elements with nothing changing in between. Yeah, no, this was fairly poor and very dull. Yeah, I agree. Most of the judges' comments were similar to my own, so we're pretty even here. Hey, Dive Man. They told me that there'd be treasure down here, but I've spent 3 hours here and found nothing. Before that, I'm pretty sure over here, yep, Splash Woman. I can't believe the only place in the festival with enough water for me to visit is this sewer. This sucks. Chanky Maker. I'm loving this festival, although when I come to this area of the festival, I start feeling ill for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on it. Oh, why? Or on why? Blader. I convey to you now a particular message of which pertains to me acknowledging the existence of one who has recently come into close proximity of me as to be able to communicate effectively. So he's talking to us. Alright, let's get on with the stage. 70th, That One Ender. Gigavolt Man. Score, 17.2. 19, 11, 18, 24, 14. 1 energy element, 3 noble nickels. Here we go. Got some collectibles. Just gonna check the left, just in case. Ooh, Elec Man remix, nice. We've also got Sheep Man blocks, which is always an interesting choice. Given how many people don't like Sheep Man, you know, Sheep Man blocks, can respect it when people use them. I actually quite like Sheep Man's blocks and tile sets, so can't go that way. Looks like we're going right then. Haven't seen any noble nickels yet either. There we go. Aha, there's a noble nickel right there. There we go. Pretty simple. So that's 1 noble nickel out of 3. Alright, we got some of these. Forming platforms. I don't remember the exact stage they are from actual Mega Man, because I'm not that well versed in Mega Man knowledge, but, you know. Got Count Bombs from Shadow Man stage. Yep, that's a pretty rough... This is a pretty rough room. One of those ones that I'd rather just rush through. Can we go this way? Nope, we're going down. Okay. Aha, I see. Okay, we can do this. I think. Come on. This is all about timing. That's all this is. There we go. Noble Nickel number 2 obtained. Hey, it's a big Snakey! These are some of my favorite mini-bosses from Mega Man 3. Mainly because Snake Man was one of my favorite Mega Man bosses from Mega Man 3. That feels cool. How do I get to you? Oh, there's no ceiling. Okay, I thought that I would hit a ceiling, so I was like convinced, oh, I'm gonna die. I guess not. That's all 3 Noble Nickels. And for whatever reason, I couldn't grip onto that ladder there. That was rather odd. Oh, and this guy's still alive. Okay, let's just, you know, take you out. Maybe not the best spot to have your checkpoint, you know, given that that guy just sort of respawns. Not the most fun enemy to have to deal with a second time, you know. There we go. And done. I guess we're going this way. Right is always right. Or something along those lines. Whoa, don't know what those enemies are. Can't say I recognize them, although I haven't played everything extensively. I assume Voltman is gonna be the boss here, because Giga Voltman, am I right? Yeah. Well, I guess that's Giga Voltman up there. I wonder if we can hit him. Like, this guy. Can we hit him? We can talk to him? Gigavolt. Ah, Mega Man! Thank you for coming here. This wily bot has taken over my base and I couldn't do a thing. If you beat him, he will drop the core to my power supply. Oh, nice little bit of story there. That attention to detail for those people that are going to actually look for that is pretty cool. I can respect that. Uh-oh. Come on. You know Alec Man, mate. Alright, 2 more hits, I believe. Should be enough. Oh no, and I'm dead. You know Alec Man instantly gets killed. Okay. Actually, since we fought him before, I want to see if I can figure out his weakness. First, I'll try the triple blade, because, you know, if it's anything like Alec Man, then it's going to be some sort of cutting weapon. Okay, so it's not you. Slash Claw, maybe? Couldn't even get him. Oh yeah, Slash Claw is his weakness, definitely. Although, honestly, I think he's easier to kill just normally, you know? No, I knew I was gonna get hit there. I knew that was it. Yeah, he seems like he's easier to beat normally than with his weapon of Robot Master weakness. Because he's got a fairly simple pattern. I don't know why I'm struggling with him. I did so well against him in the other stage that used him. The one with the Dev Kit boss rush. Go on, jump at me. Thank you. Go on. Oh, I went too high there. Come on, jump at me. Or I'm doing the same thing. We're both doing the same thing, man. There we go. 1 more hit and he should be done. There we go. And with that, we've got our next elegy element from Gigavolt Man. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Let's see what the judges had to say about Gigavolt Man. Snowrun Pyro, 19 out of 50. This level is designed extremely bizarrely. It goes all over the place with what it actually wants to use in the level. The only things that seem to stay consistent are the Sheep Man and Elec Man blocks. I don't think there is more than 2 of any enemy in the whole level, spawners don't count, you dip. Some of the enemy placement honestly baffles me. There's a crazy cannon near the beginning that you can just snipe from afar with no danger. There are literally shield attackers that just are out of your reach, and just hit a wall you'll never get to and turn around and despawn. The list goes on. Really, the only threatening enemy challenge was the one with the Sniper Joe and the Dockrons, and that just felt more unfair and dumb than actually challenging. There's some okay challenges with the Sheepman platforms, but the setups are far from interesting. It's just a really confusing and weird level overall. It also reeks of lack of testing, because there's a Mega Man 10 crusher that crashes the game somehow right after you encounter it, and I had to move it myself to make the level beatable. Joopy Hornet, 11 out of 50. I don't know, man, this level is just so broken. The biggest example in the checkpoint room is the Snakey room. The Snakey will still be on screen when you respawn, and it will be able to shoot the player, making it harder to get to the ladder. The whole level really felt like it was tested with the weapons, as a lot of rooms were hard to get through without using Super Arrow or Wire Adapter. I didn't really get that myself, but, you know, each to their own. To get to certain areas. Angel, 18 out of 50. The stage confuses me the longer I stay in it, to be honest. The theme of using the disappearing blocks is hinted at, but they're often take a back seat to random enemy encounters, often with an amount of enemies too large to be healthy in any capacity. There's a part at the start of the level where it looks like it's going left is the way to go, but it only leads to a wall, rendering all enemies in that room useless. The final corridor is completely empty, leading me to believe it was left unfinished. There's a broken ladder near the end of the stage, and the boss room expects the player to read the message before Voltman is defeated, but any sane player will take care of the boss first. This level is all over the place, and I didn't find it to be all that enjoyable, sorry. I think Gigavolt Man's message would have been better placed in the boss corridor as opposed to the boss room itself. Gariri, 24 out of 50. I just don't see anything that could potentially be interesting in this stage. The concept in general is pretty flawed, as it's just a generic level painted in Alec Man's stage. The biggest issue, in my opinion, is the level design, which, depending on the section, is either filled with poorly placed obstacles, empty and absolutely boring, or happens to be that one area where there are so many spawning enemies and obstacles that it's practically impossible to avoid them without taking damage. At least the music was fine, but I can't think of anything else that's positive. Ace Spark, 14 out of 50. This is, at its heart, an incredibly average stage, because nothing about the ideas and layout here is necessarily bad in any way. Some things are used okay, with enemy selection every so often, and there's a good idea down here. It's just let down by its horrifically lazy execution. So you're taking an already average stage and making it worse. Was there any playtesting? I came across a ton of errors that even a first playthrough of the stage would catch. There's misplaced and missing collision blocks. For example, there's a very obvious non-functional ladder that will kill the player if they try to use it, overlapping Sheepman blocks, and frankly, I'm not entirely sure the Gutsman Lift Noble Nickel is even possible without Rush or Super Arrow. It is, despite looking like it should be. There is a screen where an invisible block stops you from proceeding. Unless you slide underneath said invisible block, which was fixed post-judging, and hell... one of the jumps would be borderline impossible except for the collision detection not being present where there logically should be. Your checkpoint placement is bizarre. The player spawns next to a mini-boss. The layout makes the player waste time, enemies despawn themselves on static screens, gimmicks show up once and are never used again, and for some weird reason, you stuck the barriers from Frostman's level in the most inappropriate place you could put them. Final point, that has got to be the worst possible way you can implement a fan robot master. I know you don't have to know how to code to enter this, but surely it's possible to at least replace Voltman's graphics. If you wanted a cameo that badly, he needed to be placed before the boss fight, because no one in their right mind is going to talk to him in the middle of a fight with Voltman, which the text seems to indicate was the intention. This isn't the worst level ever, but it might very well be the laziest. Put a bit more effort in. I agree. The game could have easily, or the level could have easily been improved if it had just been bug tested once or twice. For example, the mini-boss room with the Snakey, you could have actually had the screen scroll onto the next screen after beating the mini-boss. That way you would spawn in at the same spot, but the screen would have scrolled and would have had a transition so that the mini-boss wouldn't be loaded in next to you. There was also that ladder that everyone pointed out that had no physics, which killed me, And, you know, there's just a few things in the stage that didn't make much sense in terms of enemy placement. But overall, it wasn't the worst stage in the world. I actually kind of enjoyed it, if only because I'm probably still coming off of the horror that was Yggdrasil. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. In the next episode, we're going to take on some more stages in MagMammal 2. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to check out the previous MagMammal videos down below in the bottom left. If you want to check out any of my Minecraft game show content, which is my main content, check out the bottom right. And if you want to check out my Patreon to help support the channel, check the link to my right. Alright, well, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.